Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen and enjoy my stories every day. The morning light filtered through the blinds, casting stripes of sunlight across the kitchen table where I sat nursing my third cup of coffee. The aroma mingled with the scent of freshly toasted bread. It was a routine morning, or so it seemed, until I heard the low creak of the fence gate. A moment later, there was a gentle tap at the door. Opening it, I found Mr. Jacobs, my next-door neighbor, standing with a rather uncomfortable look on his face. His usual cheerful demeanor was replaced by a twitching frown. "Morning, Dave. Something on your mind?" I asked, leaning against the door frame. "Tom, I don't know how to say this, mate, but I think you ought to know something." His voice was a low, conspiratorial whisper, and he glanced over his shoulder as if to make sure no one else could hear. Curiosity piqued, I stepped outside, closing the door softly behind me. "What is it, Dave?" "It's about Lisa," he said hesitantly, avoiding my gaze. "I've seen her a few times at the cafe downtown, the one she manages, and, well, it seems like she's got quite a close friend." A cold sensation started to snake its way down my spine. "Close friend?" "Yeah, they seem intimate, Tom. I thought you should know." I nodded, a numb feeling spreading through me. "Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it." As he walked away, the seed of doubt planted itself firmly in my mind. My wife, Lisa, the vivacious woman I married 5 years ago, could she really be betraying me? I decided then that I needed to see for myself. Over the next few days, I wrestled with the suspicion and jealousy gnawing at my heart. The cafe, our cafe, which was once a dream we built together, now seemed like the stage for my personal nightmare. I had to know the truth. Then, just as I was about to head to work on a dreary Wednesday, a text pinged my phone. It was from Dave. "They're here right now." Abandoning all other plans, I made my way to the cafe. The bell over the door jingled lightly as I entered, a sound usually comforting, now ominous. My heart pounded in my ears as I scanned the cozy space. And there she was. Lisa sat at a corner table, not just with another man, but perched on his lap, her arms around his neck, kissing him with a passion I thought was reserved for me. The sight struck me like a physical blow. Steadying myself against a table, I watched as the man, tall, with an easy smile that now seemed more a sneer, whispered something that made her laugh. That laugh, bright and clear, had always been my anchor. Now, it cut through me. Gathering every shred of composure, I approached them. "Lisa." They broke apart, her face morphing from shock to horror as she saw me. "Tom. It's not what it looks like." "Really?" "Because it looks like you're cheating on me." My voice was calm, too calm. The man stood up, putting himself between Lisa and me. "Maybe you should just leave." "No," I cut him off sharply. "I think it's you who should be leaving." The cafe had gone silent, all eyes on us. Lisa's eyes were wide, tearful. "Tom, I can explain." "There's nothing to explain," I replied coldly. Turning on my heel, I left the cafe, the sound of her calling my name trailing behind me like the echo of a bad dream. As I walked away, the clarity of betrayal set in. My marriage was over, but this was just the beginning. I would have my revenge, I would make sure they both regretted ever betraying me. From that moment on, my life took a new path, one fueled by a desire to right the wrongs done to me, and to reclaim the dignity they tried to steal. I was no longer just a husband scorned, I was a man on a mission. The details of my plan began to crystallize, each more satisfying than the last. The stage was set, the players in place, and the game had just begun. I spent the following morning pacing the length of my living room, the previous day's images haunting me relentlessly. With each step, my resolve hardens. I know what I must do, but first, I need allies, people who understand the game of deception as well as I now must. The first person who comes to mind is Sarah, an old friend from college who now works as a private investigator. If anyone can dig up dirt, it's Sarah. I dial her number, my fingers surprisingly steady. Sarah, it's Tom. I need a favor, something personal. Her voice is warm, concerned. Hey, Tom. What's going on? You sound serious. I just found out Lisa's been cheating on me. I saw it with my own eyes. There's a sharp intake of breath on the other end. I'm so sorry, Tom. How can I help? I need information on the guy. I want to know who he is, everything. You got it, she replies without hesitation. Send me whatever details you have, and I'll get to work. Gratitude washes over me. Thanks, Sarah. I knew I could count on you. Next, I call Mark, another ally, who's now a successful lawyer. I met him during a business seminar 3 years ago, and we've helped each other out on several occasions since. Mark, it's Tom. I need some legal advice. Tom. What's up? Anything wrong? It's Lisa. She's been unfaithful. I caught her red-handed. There's a pause, then Mark's tone shifts, all business. I'm sorry to hear that. What are you planning? I want to make sure I come out of this divorce unscathed. And, I hesitate, the next part is crucial, I want to hit back hard. I'll start drafting some options for the divorce. As for the rest, let's meet and discuss the specifics. Thank you, Mark. I'll be in touch soon. Armed with my burgeoning plan, I decide it's time to face Lisa. Not to confront her again, but to observe, to understand my enemy. I drive to the cafe, staying in the car, watching through the tinted windows as she goes about her day, laughing and smiling as if her world hasn't just shattered mine. Anger bubbles inside me, but I push it down. Emotion can't cloud my judgment, not now. Later that evening, I meet with Mark and Sarah at a quiet bar downtown, away from prying eyes. Sarah slides a folder across the table to me. His name is Derek Winters. He's quite the charmer, co-owns a few businesses around town, some less legitimate than others. Mark nods, sifting through the papers. This gives us leverage. We can use this. I look between them, my allies in this unexpected war. I want to dismantle his world, piece by piece. And I want Lisa to feel the pain she's caused me. Sarah puts a hand on mine, her expression serious. Are you sure about this, Tom? Revenge can get messy. I pull my hand back, my voice firm. I've never been more sure of anything. We spend the next hours plotting, crafting a strategy that involves legal maneuvers, financial pressures, and a few less orthodox methods courtesy of Sarah's investigative skills. As we part ways, the cool night air does nothing to chill the fire in my veins. I am a man transformed by betrayal, driven by a newfound purpose. The storm I am about to unleash will leave no life the same, least of all, the lives of those who wronged me. The night is dark, the city quiet as I drive back home. But inside, everything is noise and light, a chaotic symphony of what's to come. This is just the beginning, and the end will be explosive. My car rolls to a stop in front of Derek's upscale boutique, a front for his less savory business dealings, according to Sarah's findings. I stare at the sleek glass doors, my heart thumping with adrenaline. Today, I start dismantling Derek's world, one brick at a time. I step inside, feigning interest in the luxury goods displayed with calculated casualness. Derek is at the counter, charm personified, as he assists a well-dressed woman. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. It never does, I realize, I've studied him enough now to see past the facade. Can I help you, sir? Derek asks, turning his attention to me after the woman leaves, his smile plastered on. Yes, you might, I say, approaching. I'm interested in investing in local businesses, and I hear you're the man to talk to. His interest is piqued, the predator scenting an easy meal. Absolutely, I can certainly provide some insights into the local market. Why don't we schedule a meeting? Sounds good, I agree, handing him my business card. Tom Edwards. Recognition flickers in his eyes, a momentary lapse. Edwards, he trails off, trying to place me. I look forward to our discussion, I say, leaving with a finality that wipes the smile off his face. Back in my car, I make a call to Mark. It's done. He took the bait. Good, Mark's voice crackles through the speaker. I've set up the next part. The legal notice will hit him tomorrow morning. Perfect, I reply. The pieces are moving, the game is in full swing. The next morning, I watch from across the street as a courier delivers the envelope to Derek's boutique. He opens it, his face dropping as he reads the contents. A lawsuit, alleging financial misconduct. Mark had crafted it beautifully, enough truth woven with ambiguity to tie Derek's resources up in legal knots for months. As Derek storms out of his shop, phone pressed to his ear, likely calling his lawyer, I can't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction. This is only the beginning. Sarah calls later that day. I've got more for you. Derek's holding a lot of debt, risky stuff. If his creditors hear about the lawsuit, they might get nervous. Let's make sure they do, I say, a plan forming in my mind. Can you leak it to them? Consider it done, she replies, and I can hear the grin in her voice. Meanwhile, Lisa remains in the shadows of my plans. She calls repeatedly, leaving voicemails that I don't bother to listen to. She sends texts begging to explain, to talk. I ignore them all. My focus is on dismantling the life she chose over ours. A week later, everything accelerates. Derek's creditors start pulling out, his financial empire begins to tremble, and the gossip about his lawsuit spreads through the city's underbelly. I meet Mark and Sarah again, this time in a dimly lit cafe that smells of over-roasted coffee and stale pastries. Derek's about to crack, Sarah reports, sliding a stack of photos across the table. They show him looking disheveled, arguing with various people. He's losing grip. His partners are distancing themselves. Mark nods, looking over the photos. And the divorce papers are ready for you, Tom. Serve them when you're ready. I will, I confirm. The final act of my marriage awaits, but first, I need to see Derek crumble completely. As we part ways, the weight of my actions begins to press down on me. This path I've chosen is dark and solitary, but necessary. The betrayal I felt demanded no less of a response. With each step forward, I leave behind the man I was, embracing the cold strategist I've become. This is a game of revenge, and I am its master player. The endgame approaches, and I am ready. The storm I've conjured now howls around me, and soon, it will sweep away everything Lisa and Derek thought they could steal from me. The late afternoon sun casts long shadows on the street as I walk toward the cafe Lisa still manages. My heart is a mixture of determination and dread. Today, everything ends. I push open the door, the familiar jingle of the bell now sounding like a tolling bell. Lisa is there, behind the counter, her face lighting up for a moment when she sees me, then it falls as she sees my expression. Tom, she starts, her voice trembling, please, can we talk? I nod stiffly, motioning for her to join me at a table in the corner, away from the few lingering customers. She sits across from me, her eyes searching mine for some sign of the love that used to live there. There's none. Tom, I know I've made a terrible mistake, she begins, her voice cracking. I hold up my hand, stopping her. Save it, Lisa. I know about Derek. I've seen everything. My words are cold, clipped. Her face pales. Tom, it's not what you think. Derek, he's my brother. I stare at her, uncomprehending. What? She takes a deep breath, steadying herself. He's my half-brother. We only found out a few months ago. Our meetings, they were never romantic. We were trying to figure out our relationship, how to tell you. My mind reels, unable to process the information. Why didn't you just tell me? We were going to, but you found out the wrong way. I wanted to explain, but you wouldn't listen, Lisa pleads. The truth hits me like a wave, the realization of my actions crashing down. But there's more to settle. And the lawsuit? I ask. Tom, Derek's business was struggling. He got involved with some shady people. I tried to help him clean it up, she explains, her voice filled with desperation. I lean back, the weight of my misjudgments heavy on my shoulders. I've ruined everything based on a lie. Lisa's eyes are filled with tears, but her voice is firm. You chose to think the worst of me, Tom. You destroyed my brother's life, our marriage. I have no words, only the stark truth of her statement. I've filed for divorce, I say finally, pulling the papers from my bag. It's better this way. Lisa looks at the papers, then at me. I never cheated on you, Tom. But you've shown me who you really are. I can't forgive that. She stands, her chair scraping against the floor. Goodbye, Tom. Her voice is a whisper, but it echoes in my ears like a shout. She walks away, and I watch her go, feeling the finality of the moment. I've lost the woman I loved to my own blind vengeance. As she disappears from view, I'm left with the shards of my actions, sharp and jagged, with no one to blame but myself. The cafe door swings shut behind her, the jingle of the bell now a melancholy sound. I sit there, alone, the truth of my ruin surrounding me. In my quest for revenge, I was the one who was ultimately undone by it. Lisa was innocent, and in my failure to trust, I have destroyed the love we once shared, forever. Outside, the sky darkens, and the first drops of rain begin to fall, like the world weeping for what might have been. I turn to look out the window, my reflection staring back at me, a man broken by his own hand. And as the cafe empties, I realize I am truly alone, left to live with the consequences of a tragedy I authored myself.